Hey, how's it going? How's it going? How's it going? Some more. It's Politics but Laurie here. There's a lot going on. Now, quickly, in the US, the Democrats in New Jersey, that is so inside. If you know that, if you know, then you know. Patterson, New Jersey, you can't make this stuff up. I'm going to upload a video furthering explaining it. These Democrats are off the chain. They are up front, close and personal with their not only corruption but with their they don't give a crap about their constituents. And from there, I'm going to go across the pond, way across the pond. Now, I find it quite interesting that President Putin is trying to find a way to bring peace. But however, the one who doesn't want peace is Zelensky. He wants to keep things dragging on. He wants the money continuously piling in. The more money piles in, and there's no, how can I say, no ledger, no invoices, no nothing. The money goes in and it disappears. Just like the one that funded Zelensky for his presidency, which he won, Igor Kolomoisky. I mean, he got used, abused, and tattooed. However, let's get to Donald Trump and Vladimir Putin. And they're going to have a meeting next Friday. However, that information came out yesterday as they did talk. And there are talks. And as they are talking, Zelensky is not in the room because he keeps on throwing out a whole lot of chaos. Yes, I'll do it. Then he'll change his mind. No, I won't. Yes, I will. No, I won't. It's a bit too much. But now Zelensky said, okay, you're going to have this summit, but I'm letting you know right now, there will be no peace if I don't get my land back. I need to get my land back. Now, let's stop and reflect on some things. Before Putin invaded the ukulele country, Zelensky has done a lot to provoke Putin. And now he looks like the wounded person, the person that's wronged. No. Zelensky threw a rock and hit his hand like he didn't do anything. All of this is his doing for his quest. For his quest and strong desire to get into NATO and the EU. They won't let him in because his country is entirely too corrupt. And as you see with the United States, we give him money and it disappears while his wife goes to France during a war and goes buys purses, spends 80,000, who knows how many more thousands on her attire during a war. Well, I said before, Mrs. Zelensky, I want my money back. Well, wait a minute, did they get a divorce? Well, I really want my money back. Okay, my tax money for you to go splurge around Europe, that needs to stop. In my wonderful, humble opinion. Now, what's interesting, I'm looking at Moscow Times, and some of you may say, oh my God, you're going to use that source. Yeah, it's better than using Fox, Washington Times, you know. So here, quickly, the U.S. President Donald Trump on Friday, he met with Russian President Vladimir Putin in a U.S. President Donald Trump said he would meet with Russian President Vladimir Putin in 1 week in Alaska and suggested that an eventual deal between Moscow and Kyiv to end the war in the Ukraine that could involve swapping territories. Now, Zelensky made it quite clear that he's not swapping anything. You're going to give me my land back and that is it. Now, when you look back at Kyiv, and Kyiv is a very important city that was a former Russian city. That city goes back 2,000 years, even before that. The name has always been Kyiv. So there's a lot of history in, how can I say, I want to say in the Bible, but it was there at that time. So I don't want to digress too far. So tens of thousands of people have been eliminated since Russia launched a full-scale invasion in the Ukraine in February 2022, with millions forced to flee their homes. Now, I would like to say it may not, in my opinion, be a full-scale war. I truly don't believe it is. But however, take what I say with a grain of salt. So they're planning all this stuff, and this is what I found interesting. Now, the highly anticipated meeting between myself and the President of the United States of America and President Vladimir Putin of Russia will take place on Friday, August 15th in the great state of Alaska. Alaska used to be a part of Russia until we bought it, and that was it. But the Ukraine and Russia without providing further details. Now, the Kremlin foreign policy advisor Yuri Ushkov appeared to confirm that the talks would go ahead in Alaska on Friday. Now, Russia and the U.S. are close neighbors bordering each other. Ushkov told reporters, it seems quite logical that our delegation should simply fly across the Bering Strait, and that such an important and eagerly awaited summit between the leaders of both countries should be held in Alaska. Now, with this, everybody's holding their breath. And then you have Zelensky that's throwing all types of stuff out there. Now, Zelensky, he says, Zelensky warns on a decision without Ukraine before U.S.-Russia summit begins. Now, he's throwing all this stuff out there. He's just throwing a tantrum. I don't know. I think maybe him and Macron of France are basically cousins, maybe. I don't know. But President Vladimir Zelensky on Saturday warned that decisions without Ukraine will not bring peace and rule without ceding territory to Russia. The Ukraine will not give their land to any occupier, he said on social media, as U.S. President Trump and President Putin prepare to hold their summit in Alaska. Now, again, Putin has come to the table with Zelensky several times. And Zelensky would say yes, then turn around and say no. Then he would say yes, turn around and say no. He would always break the agreements. So Trump and Putin are like, okay, we're going to have to do this without Zelensky. Now, keep in mind, Zelensky is not the one that has the power in that country. He doesn't. He is a puppeteer. He's being manipulated willfully, knowingly that he's being manipulated, and well paid to do so. And I'm going to leave that right there. There are vested interests in the Ukraine being the puppet of NATO, most definitely, because NATO, I said this on several videos 2 years ago and last year, that NATO wants to take over the entire Europe, and Russia is the last stand for them to hold everything. But however, there's a vast pushback from Russia saying, no, no, NATO, you stay over there. You've been pecking away at each Warsaw Pact country. You're pecking away each one. The last one is Ukraine. So let's see what happens. And let's see what Zelensky continues to scream and holler. And in my opinion, showboating for the people that are behind the scenes, that's getting him to jump and doing whatever. But however, one person who really wants to see Zelensky go down is Igor Kolomoisky. Igor Kolomoisky was the one who funded Zelensky's campaign, paid for everything for Zelensky to put a big knife in his back. On that note, please like, subscribe. Thank you for stopping by.